Good evening and welcome to this week's installment of Focus TV. As always, we got Octavia White here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarver Jr. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 19 of the Focus TV. Got a lot to get through tonight. It's March, if you haven't noticed. So NCAA tournament is getting going this week. So we got a lot to get through in the college segment. Keith's back this week. Going to be looking at another pair of players in this upcoming NFL draft class, where he's going to have the latest on the Wizards and their recent trip out west. For those of you who don't keep up with Wizards Outlook, and Octavia, little break in the actual NFL news here, because tampering season, which kind of really doesn't exist, I guess pre-free agency has already begun in the NFL. So we're going to get to that. Got some DC United news, and obviously we're going to have some rapid fire. But Cardell, going to start things off with you with the college segment. Then you got some GW news, then a little bit more on the A10 tournament as a whole as we get into the NCAA tournament.
It was a busy week, so to speak. With the A10, I'm gonna start off on the GW side. There's a lot of news on that side as well. GW fell to UMass 99-88. GW gave up 4 threes in the opening 6 minutes, which kind of set the tone for how the game was going to go. UMass ended up hitting 9 3-pointers in the first half, and they went into halftime up 56-36. It was just to be frank, piss poor effort defensively from GW, especially to begin your conference tournament with the hopes of trying to go on a run and possibly get to NCAA tournament, but their defense didn't show up in the first half. In the second half, they woke up. They came out of halftime more aggressive offensively. They put up 52 points and managed to cut the lead to 11 with 4:44 remaining in the game, after a Joe Bamasil three-pointer. However, they want to get closer. UMass never cooled off throughout the game. They shot 52% from the field for the game while knocking down 12 three-pointers. The main thing that really hurt GW on top of their poor defense, turnovers. They had 18, and that led to 31 points for UMass. GW is led by Joe Bamasil, who scored 17 of his 25 points after halftime, on 11 of 20 shooting from the floor. Our rookie selection, Brian Freeman, posted 18 points and 7 assists. And James Bishop added 15 points, while Ricky Lindo finished with a double-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds. And Brandon Adams, he added 10 points in his own right. UMass was led by point guard Noah Fernandez. He torched GW. Nobody could guard him. He scored a career high, 29 points, dished out 7 assists, and added 7 steals. So I might say they had 18 turnovers, the Colonials. He was responsible for 7 of them. And he shot 11 of 17 from the field. And he was just dominant, man. They couldn't do nothing with him, man. And the entire team just fed off of him, and they advanced. It was deflating. GW fans came out. I wouldn't say they packed Capital One, but it was a decent crowd. Pretty much what you would expect at the Smith Center. They came out the usual crowd, and they didn't really start playing until the second half, man. Outside of Brian Freeman, who was, getting it done in the first half. But, it's costly, man. That was a big L, and I'm going to move on, and this is what it cost. It cost head coach Jamie Christian his job. George Washington University Director of Athletics, Tanya Vogel, released a statement. She said, "This is a challenging day, as Jamie has faced significant adversity in his 3 years, obviously with the pandemic. And his relentless optimism and positivity was a source of energy on dark days. He has been a worthy ambassador and advocate for our entire athletics department. And I wish Jamie and his wife, Ali, and son, Jacoy, nothing but the very best. This decision, however, was based on our performance on the court. The GW community, university leadership, and I have high expectation for what our men's program should be. And we are determined to find our way back to a place on the national stage. Through a national search for our new head coach, we must return to that standard and be in the picture for postseason success on an annual basis. We are committed to returning to winning at the highest level." In 3 seasons, Christian had a 29-50 overall record, including 12 and 18 this past season. And postseason play over the last 3 seasons, GW is 1-3. But that's not it. For me, obviously covering the team closely in his first 2 years, He had 11 players transfer. That's a big deal. I know everybody going to have a couple players, for whatever. Pretty much every program, for the most part, going to have a couple players leave and or whatnot. But 11 players over 2 years, that's something bigger. That's coaching. You got to look at the coach for that. And then included Jameer Nelson Jr., who's the son of Jameer Nelson, played for the Orlando Magic, St. Joe's legend. Now he's headed to the tournament as the starting point guard for Delaware. That hurts. Tyler Brailsford, who's a reserve guard for Bryant right now, he's also headed to the NCAA tournament. And Jamison Battle, who's a sniper for GW the last couple years, he's the leading scorer for Minnesota right now, this past season, averaging 17 and a half points per game. When you lose like he has, and then you lose the talent that he has, you can keep in mind they went 5-12 last year. It's tough to keep a job, man. The A10 is real, and I'll be trying to tell people that. I don't care what the hype machine, the national press, staying in the ACC, Big Ten, SEC, all those. A10 is real. The coaching is real, and the talent is real. And the thing is, the difference between them and say ACC, so to speak, Big East, you got to deal with players that stay in all 4 years. You got to deal with grown men that have been there, that have seasoned, that know how to play the game and know how to win. And that's when it becomes tough. You know what I mean? So it was really nothing you could kind of point to say, all right, he was doing a good job. Like, it was nothing you could hang your hat on. So this is not a shock. I don't root for obviously anyone to lose their job, let alone black coaches, because it's just tough for, black coaches to get opportunity. You know what I mean? It's just being real at all levels. But I mean, it comes down to results, and he didn't get the best. So, it is what it is. Moving forward to the A10 championship game, Jacob Gilliard scored 26 points. Tyler Burton had 16 points and 12 rebounds to lead 6th seed Richmond over top seed Davidson 64-62 on Sunday, capturing the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament and the NCAA tournament berth for the first time in 11 years. Richmond 23-12 needed 2 15-point comebacks in the early rounds to advance to the championship game for the first time since winning the conference championship in 2011. The Spiders are making their 10th trip to the NCAAs, and the first time since making the Sweet 16 in that 2011 season. Gilliard was 9 of 18 from the field. A long jumper in the second half allowed him to reach 2,000 career points. He becomes the 5th player in program history to do so. Sam Meniga scored 18 points, and Michael Jones finished with 17 points for Davidson. Luka Brajkovic, A10 Player of the Year, had 13 points and 11 rebounds. Also, to throw this in there, Richmond assistant coach Maurice Joseph was GW's head coach before Christian came in. And as a 6th seed, they're going to the tournament. So it's just not pretty, man. Like, it's just evidence. It's just, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people eating crow, so to speak, man. It just wasn't good a weekend if you were part of GW's program. First I want to say special thanks to A10 for selecting me to be one of the voters. That was a huge honor, and I definitely took full advantage of it, man. The all championship team for the conference tournament was Deron Holmes, the second out of Dayton, stud freshman. Luka Brajkovic, obviously he A10 Player of the Year. You knew he was going to be there. Davidson, Foster Lawyer, another guard for Davidson. Grant Golden, Richmond center, and of course Jacob Gilliard for Richmond, who was also named the championship, the A10 championship most outstanding player. And that's my wrap up for the A10 season this year. GW, Richmond, and Davidson. They get to get in. They get to get in the NCAA tournament in a couple of days. So we'll see how they fare.
All right, on to the women's side of the tournament. Was in College Park for Selection Sunday. This was one of the first years that typically the women's game, they have their selection. It's Selection Monday, so kind of threw me for the loop. I forgot this year that I had to double check. I was like, it's the same day, so it's kind of weird, but it was cool. Same normal spread that they typically have in College Park, where spend some time with the team. They sit there with some fans as they watch the reveal show to find out where they're going to end up. So they're getting the 4th seed in the Spokane region of this year's NCAA tournament. Again, in the women's game, the top 16 seeds get to host the first 2 rounds. So everybody 1 through 4 seed in every region, you get to host the first 2 rounds. You don't have to leave your campus. This weekend at College Park, Maryland will face 13th seeded Delaware. Should they advance, they play the winner of 5th seeded Virginia Tech and 12th seeded Florida Gulf Coast. Maryland has made 29 NCAA tournament appearances. There's 16 appearances under Coach Freeze, 36-15, the 17-3 all time in first round games, and 16-0 in first round games under Coach Freeze. You guys been with us all year. It's been an up and down year for Maryland. Their whole thing was just get to the dance, and for the most part, they're kind of as healthy as they're gonna be. They've had a lot of changes personnel wise, but obviously an earlier exit than they would have liked the Big Ten tournament. But it's go time. Gonna see if they can make something of this second season. It's just that simple. If things go right, you got 2 games here in College Park. Then after that, you head out west in what's a tough region. And I just want to say, this has nothing to do with Maryland. Can y'all move Connecticut out of Bridgeport? Look, just please stop, man. Like, it's a travesty, all right? Like, it's not. So again, look, there's nothing else in Connecticut, right? You want to go see pro sports? There's none in the state. You gotta get on a train, get to New York. Cool, it's a short train ride, what have you. UConn basketball, period. Especially women's basketball. If you do, even if like when the USA team does, like, sometimes they go on tour before they leave to play international events, it's sold out. Do you think other teams are really going to get a fair chance to get tickets and things of that nature going up there? Like, you already know what it is. Like, get them out the region. And I'm a proponent of that. If they're not good enough to be a number 1 seed, get them the heck out the state. That's just me personally. They don't need to be there. I know other people feel differently. I don't feel like you deserve to have that advantage. Because, again, if you go up there, anytime that they have that regional in Bridgeport, if you guys get the chance to go up there, right, there's no other fans. Because when those tickets go on sale, they're done. Like, it's literally the players that are traveling to the region and their family that travel with them. That's that. Outside of that, I wish you the best. It's tough. But again, I kind of like the seating in a women's bracket as a whole. It should be fun. Some folks are going to have to meet some folks to get out of certain brackets and, make for good conversation, all that good stuff, man. But that's all I have for this week's kind segment. When we talk to you guys next week, we talk about the NCAA tournament, obviously, because we'll have an idea first and second round. Things get cool and crazy. I suggest you go to figure out where True TV is. Because everyone asked that question around this time of year. So really? Especially, like when we go to the 68 teams now. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts this week, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure all of you are. Then it passes along to Keith this week. He's looking at safeties, which is very important in this league where everyone is beyond pass happy. We're gonna look at both ends of the spectrum. You got most likely top 10 pick in Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame, and then Lewis Sin, kind of under somehow on that Georgia defense it's like he's there, but he's not there because he's not as flashy as other folks. Don't flash as much. You know how corny it is when somebody just does their job, uses their brain, stays in position, that type of boring stuff. So Keith's going to break down both of those guys. And after that, we'll take our first break. When we get back, we'll be talking to Raymond, and he's going to let you guys know how Washington's most recent trip out west went. You're watching the Focus TV.
We're back, and today we'll be going over 2 safety prospects. 2 guys, one guy that I presume to be a day 2 guy, and a guy who probably will go top 5 at the safety position, which you normally just don't see, which is why it's so impressive. But when I say the name, you'll realize of why he's as praised as he is. I guess I might as well just get right into it. The guy I was talking about is Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's able to cover from sideline to sideline. He's 6'4" and is the size of a linebacker, but with the speed and agility and elusiveness as a safety or a corner. He's able to cover so much ground. Kyle Hamilton just isn't like any other safety prospect we've seen in years. The closest thing we've seen to him is probably Derwin James. And yeah, he's had some durability issues in the NFL. But if you look at the season that he had when he was healthy, he's a game changer. And when you have guys like that, now position value is such a huge thing in the NFL. And for Kyle Hamilton to be a safety who's presumed to go top 5, he doesn't fall out of the top 10. For him to be that good, you have to bring multiple things to the game. You can't have a miss. Like, you have to be the perfect safety, which he is. When you're 6'4", when you can cover sideline to sideline, you can get in the backfield in the blink of an eye. When you can do all of these things, when you can line up on the top tier tight ends and even line up against a wide receiver or a running back, when you can check all the boxes, that's when you can get to that top 5, top 10 position. And usually guys who check all the boxes are always lacking something: height, weight, health issues. This guy has checked every box that there is, and he is an impressive player who will be such a game changer for whatever team he goes to. You'll be able to realize that he is one of the more difference makers on the defensive side of the ball. And yes, in college he had a few injuries, but do I expect those injuries to change how his play is at all? No, I really think this guy is almost a lock for defensive rookie of the year, because he's just that good. He's that much of a game changer. And I've seen him mocked up to the second spot, and I haven't seen him fall out of the top 10 yet. So this guy is going to provide a lot for defenses. He's going to allow defensive coordinators to extend the playbook. There's going to be a lot of cover ones and a lot of cover zeros, just because you have Kyle Hamilton on your defense, who can cover a lot of the things majority of the safeties in the NFL can't. He is a 10 out of 10 safety. This guy will come in and be a day one impact kind of guy, and he will continue to grow throughout his career. But moving on to the next guy, this guy, and one of my favorite phrases Max Kellerman used, it was for Daniel Jones, but I'm going to use it for this guy too, because it's a name that these kind of guys go by, and it's day 2 guys. And the guy we're talking about is Lewis Sin out of Georgia, safety junior, who's 6'1". And when you watch this guy on film, there's one thing that you notice, and it's just that he's just such a high IQ player. You can tell that he knows the game of football really well, and he's not gonna cover sideline to sideline, and he doesn't have the bend over break speed, and he doesn't have all the top tier qualities, which is why he's a day 2 guy. But how smart he is as a football player, as a safety, and just as a guy who loves the game of football, it helps him tremendously with being able to cover running backs, receivers, tight ends. It allows him to be put in the box at 6'1". And when you have a guy like that at safety, who's so versatile, who's so smart with knowing the game, you're allowed to do so much more. And it'll come, and he's not getting a lot of love at the moment in the draft process. It's because he didn't have a crazy combine, and he didn't have any plays that just jumped off of film. But when you really sit down and watch that guy's every play, every movement that he does on each play, you can tell that he is a very smart player and that he can help defenses. I guarantee you one day he will be calling plays for a defense, and he'll be the one with the green dot on his helmet, because he's just that impressive of a player. And he will be drafted day 2, so he'll obviously still have a little love, and he'll still be watched throughout the season. But I really think this guy has everything it takes with how much of an IQ he has. I think that makes up for every other thing that he lacks, and he will provide and be able to make those plays for the defense that you need. And being 6'1" puts him, like, just being off 6'1", I think he's around 180, 190, allows him to be thrown into the box from time to time, but he's more of a coverage guy. But you won't see him he won't get the crazy interceptions or anything like that, but he'll make a play or two when you need him to, and he's just one of the more intelligent players that I've watched on film from more than I can remember. I can't remember multiple players. I don't think I can name 10 players that I've watched who are smarter on film and more calculated than him. And that's why I think he'll be a day 2 guy. And next week we'll be talking about a different position. But I hope you guys learned something about these two new prospects: Kyle Hamilton, who's going to go day one, top 5, top 10, and Lewis Seen, who will probably be a day 2 guy, who is just one of the more smarter players that I've seen. Peace.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. As always, want to thank Keith for knocking out this week's NFL draft segment. Looking forward to see what two prospects we'll be talking about next week. All right, Ray, Washington Wizards segment is all yours, man.
Oh boy, I need to start getting some hazard pay for doing this. But yeah, man, Washington had a miserable West Coast road trip. They went over. They lost to the Clippers, the Lakers, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Golden State Warriors. They were in a very giving mood. Reggie Jackson started things off, gave him 31. Then LeBron had 50. Then Josh Hart had 44. And Steph finished them off with 47. Yeah, they're just in a free fall, man. They're not playing any defense. It's just back to how things looked in December. They're 4 games out of the play-in at this point. That's all things considered, man. That's pretty much a wrap. I just don't see them regrouping enough to make a push, especially with the teams they're chasing, like Atlanta. They're treading water. They're winning games. So yeah, man, it's very disappointing, man. All things considered. Last year, we talked about everything they faced, but they still managed to scrape into the playoffs. So that was the baseline going into this year for us. We had been talking about it since training camp. We emphasize if they defend, they could potentially max out at they might be able to win a round, but yeah, that's definitely not the case at this point. It sucks, man. Wes has had a rough first year. But it's just growing pains. He's got that first year under his belt. And there's still some things to figure out roster wise in the off season. So yeah, man, it's not looking too good. But they got a few games left. Hopefully they just don't completely lay down. They find some pride from somewhere to continue to fight for these last 15 games or so. But yeah, man, it's looking pretty gloom and dismal at this point. As far as the go, they saw their last action on Thursday the 10th. They beat the Westchester Knicks. They were without Jaime Ekanike and Jordan Goodwin. He didn't have a great game. He shot 3 for 15. They still managed to win by double digits. They led with their defense. They held the Knicks to 38% from the field, and they forced 17 turnovers. And then offensively, they were rolling, man. They shot 52% from the field overall, and they got their 3-point shooting on track. They shot 50%, went 11 for 22. Greg Monroe got the start in place of Jaime Ekanike. He had 18 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. So, man, just a veteran guy, lots of NBA experience. That's what he's there for, just to fill the gaps and, lead the way for the young guys. They did have a game scheduled against the Grand Rapids Gold, but it was postponed. They didn't have the league required 8 players to participate. So that game is going to be rescheduled. They are back in action tomorrow against the Motor City Cruise. They're go, man. They're doing well, man. They're doing better than Big Brother. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They seem to be hitting their stride. They all season they've been hanging their hat on defense and dominating the paint. So that's led to them being in games and winning a majority of them. It's good just to have something you can rely on game in and game out. And when the other things fall into place, it's a bonus. I talk a lot about the 3-point shooting. It's been up and down, but every game going in, they're going to rebound, they're going to play defense, and they're going to get the ball inside and score in the paint. So yeah, man, they got good things to build on. Yeah, it's rare where JV's doing a lot better than varsity. So maybe the Wizards need to spend some time around the go-go, man, because what's going on up top ain't pretty at all. But shout out to Mike Williams and crew. They're really building something, but the roster situation in the G League is so volatile just because of the nature of people moving around and things like that. But they got a solid foundation. They got some guys that'll be around and should be able to help them moving forward.
All right, Octavia, what's going on in your crazy division? Is free agency has had no shows since it's begun, even though it doesn't officially begin until Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. When you're talking about the tampering, I was like, I mean, we're still technically tampering at this point. Since free agency technically doesn't start until, I believe, noon tomorrow. But as we know, there's been so many different deals going on. So I'm just going to stick to what's going on in the NFC East as of now. Forgive me if I've missed anything because, like I said, it has been a lot. I'm going to try to get through a couple of notable losses for some of the teams as well, especially then, of course, the acquisitions that they have reportedly received in this new free agency season. So starting with the Giants, notable loss for them is going to be Evan Ingram, who intends to sign a one-year deal fully guaranteed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Be $9 million deal, could go up to $10 million just depending on incentives. So longtime tight end for the New York Giants is now no more. He is down in Jacksonville. So just to go over a couple of acquisitions that they are reporting, quarterback Tyrod Taylor plans to sign a 2-year, $17 million deal with the New York Giants. Also, Mark Lewinsky has agreed to a 3-year deal with the Giants. Some of these, of course, are renegotiations as well. John Feliciano has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Giants. CJ Board, wide receiver, has also agreed to a 1-year deal with the Giants. And Robert Foster, wide receiver, has also agreed to a 1-year deal with the Giants. The New York Giants also, their starting middle linebacker, Blake Martinez, will return for the 2022 season. He agreed to rework a contract this past Friday, so he will return to that offensive line. And lastly, New York Giants wide receiver Sterling Shepard is returning on a reworked 1-year deal. He's been there the longest, and I guess he is comfortable. He does not want to leave. So he will be returning again for another season in New York. Again, we're going to have so many more things that are happening. There are talks of shopping Saquon, bringing in Tyrod Taylor to back up Daniel Jones. We'll see how long Daniel Jones survives, especially with this new world order that's going on in New York and the Giants organizations. So on to the Washington Commanders. A couple of pieces that they've lost so far. Running back J.D. McKissick intends to sign a 2-year deal, $7 million with upside of $8 million with the Buffalo Bills. Looks like he is looking to win a championship. Don't blame him. Washington DT Tim Settle. He also is going to Buffalo on a 2-year deal. Lastly, they also lost Brandon Sheriff, who's been franchise tagged the last 2 years. He is out of there. He's getting a 3-year, $52.5 million deal with $30 million fully guaranteed. And he is gone. So they wanted to keep him around as long as they possibly could, but obviously that did not work for them. I'm just realizing I left out what team he went to. Sorry, he's also going to Jacksonville. So my old coach is doing a lot down in Jacksonville, I guess. He's taking a lot of NFC East players that he saw in his past, and I guess he's just trying to reunite them all. Lastly, the Washington Commanders they released veteran safety Landon Collins, which was a lot of people saw coming, more so due to salary cap. But he was a valuable defender for them, so we'll see what they're going to do to replace him. But the biggest acquisition in the NFC East has come from somebody who used to play in the NFC East. Carson Wentz has been traded from the Colts to the Washington Commanders. He's technically under contract for the next 3 years, but he has no guaranteed salary beyond 2022. So basically they can see if it works out for a year and then see what happens after that. But the crazy thing is they will be paying his full salary of $28 million, including a $5 million roster bonus due next week. So Carson Wentz has left the Philadelphia Eagles, went to the Colts to play for a year, left the Colts, and is right back in the NFC East. I don't know how I feel about it, just because I don't like playing former players. Like, I just don't like it. I just feel like it can always go bad, even though we've seen Carson Wentz over the last year and a half. But he's still a good quarterback, but we know the decision making is off. So we'll see what happens. Defensive back Bobby McCain also re-signed with Washington for 2 years and $11 million. Troy Apke, DB, he has also agreed to a 1-year deal to return, and they also signed Tyler Larson, center. He's agreed to a 1-year deal to go back to the Commanders. So again, much more I'm sure is going to happen in these weeks to come, or days to come, because like I said, it kicks off tomorrow. Also to the Dallas Cowboys. So some notable losses. One that was just recently discovered: defensive end Randy Gregory agrees to a 5-year, $70 million contract with Cardell's Denver Broncos. This comes after it was reported that he was re-signing with the Cowboys, but that did not happen. The Dallas Cowboys also agreed to trade wide receiver Amari Cooper and a 6th-round pick to the Cleveland Browns. I feel bad for Amari. I just feel like you go to Cleveland to die. Like, why would they do that to him? He could have came right on down to us, but that's fine. The Dallas Cowboys have also released their kicker, Greg Zuerlein, and tight end Blake Jarwin, just to put them under the salary cap before the start of the league year. And lastly, they lost another wide receiver, Cedric Wilson, intends to sign a 3-year, $22.8 million deal that includes $12.75 million guaranteed with the Miami Dolphins. So that's a couple pass catchers that they've lost, but let's see who they've gained. The Cowboys agreed to a 2-year, $8 million deal with Malik Hooker to keep him with them as well. They decided on Michael Gallup. That is the biggest question mark that we got answered. They agreed on terms to a 5-year deal, $62.5 million to remain in Dallas, includes a $10 million signing bonus. They signed a long snapper, Jake McQuaid, for a year, minimum salary. They also restructured DeMarcus Lawrence. He agreed to a new 3-year deal, $30 million guaranteed. And of course, it opened up some cap room for them. Lastly, they also restructured the contracts of Dak and Zach Martin. Went ahead, of course, to get them under the cap. And they did also agree to a 1-year minimum salary deal with tight end Jeremy Sprinkle. So I'm sure Jerry's not done. We'll see what else Jerry has up his sleeve. Last but not least, Philadelphia Eagles. The only notable loss so far is Alex Singleton, linebacker. They're not going to tender him. We're going to let him go out and test the free agency market, see what happens to him. As far as acquisition, biggest acquisition was Hassan Reddick. Agreed to a 3-year deal worth $45 million, $30 million guaranteed. Finally, somebody that can, because obviously last year we could not rush the quarterback. Our rushers are getting old quickly, so this is nice. Also, they agreed, I don't know why, a 1-year agreement with Greg Ward and Andre Chair, whoever he is, 100. They got a year deal. Congratulations. I don't know how I feel about this one. They have I'm sorry, they tendered Nate Herbig. So I don't really mind that. Not too bad. Biggest news for me, Jason Kelce has decided not to retire. He has become the highest paid center in the league. He's on a $14 million contract. And he's decided to stay. I don't think he's that old, but, they say you're old when you get to like 34 in football years. So I guess he is considered old. He was mulling retirement, but at the moment, he has decided to stay. So as of now, those are the biggest acquisitions and losses for the NFC East. There are still plenty more that are going to happen. I'm sure of it, and especially as close as we get to the draft.
I appreciate that, and I'm sure next week when we talk to you and have so many more names to list off, not only from your division, from around the league.
Yeah, because the league is crazy too.
You said what?
I say yeah, because the league is crazy too.
Oh yeah, people have no sense right now. And if y'all see Cardell making faces, it's because while we're knocking this out, Kyrie's apparently going nuts on Orlando. At the moment. So he had 41 in the first half.
41 in the first half.
Okay.
What's going on? Like, it's like every day somebody is dropping some astronomical number in a game.
These motherfuckers are ready for vacation and they don't play defense. There's no way. There's no way you damn near giving me 50. I don't care who. Never mind.
I mean, Cat had 60 last night, so I'm like,
there's no way.
What's happening?
And they like, you on some godlike terror? I'm taking on 6 of mine, dog. Like, there's no way. You're not getting close to that. What's wrong with this? Boy, this era, boy.
91 they have with 8, at the 9-minute mark in the third quarter.
Oh, KD only shot the ball 6 times. They don't even need their shoe. He's just clearing out. Like, come on.
Guys will just go sit down and rest at this point since Kyrie probably can't play no more.
No, and that's what somebody said. While you were talking, I tell you I'm looking because I saw Cardell's face. I'm like, I know Kyrie's cooking. Brady and Cardell also tweeting, and I'm like, come on, man. I'm trying to pay attention to stuff, and y'all are tweeting. I know I'm missing something, right? And it's like, so he can't play tomorrow. They're on a back-to-back. And KD's resting while on the court tonight.
Oh, that's what they doing. I'm gonna hold you down when you can't play, man, dog. I saw 41. I'm like, damn, they must have played an early game. And I'm looking.
Man, got a whole 24 to go.
Man, where Markel at, dog? Look, this ain't on you, dog. He just got back. I ain't gonna. It's on cold.
Oh man.
He's trying to knock the rust off. Oh, that's crazy, bro. Like,
all right, we're going to take our second break. When we get back, so DC United will get into some rapid fire. And it looks like if this continues, this might be the answer to somebody's rapid fire question next week. I don't know what he's going to end up with because there's been way too many 40-point games this week, 60-point games, 50-point games. Like Cardell said, that's a scary recipe. Those two things together. But you're watching the Focus TV and we'll return very shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. DC United. Last time I talked to you guys, they got off to a decent start. 2 games, 6 points. That means 2 wins. The Black and Red dropped their first game of the season on Saturday to the visiting Chicago Fire, 2-0. The Fire were poised against the DC United press. The Fire came into this game. They hadn't surrendered a goal, nor had they scored a goal. So they one thing stayed the same and one thing changed. This week they scored 2 goals, and they also kept their streak of 3 clean sheets going as well. In the 32nd minute, Shaqiri tried to play a ball, through ball to Ivanov, who was making a run inside the box. The ball was deflected by Brad Smith, who was trying to get in position to cut off Ivanov. Off the deflection, Ivanov was able to chip the ball over Hamid, who would come off his line to close down on a shot, but he's a veteran player. Nice chip. Put them up 1-0. Cool. After that, Chicago just their three most important players on the field did a great job handling the press and then countering. So they're able to get in transition and put pressure on DC United, and DC United wasn't able to return serve, in a better lack of words. And since they were able to that meant that the couple opportunities that they did get and they didn't capitalize, it hurt even more. Again, it was 1-0 for a while. The second goal came in the 80th minute for the Fire. They played the ball into the box. When Jimenez flicked it on to an open Bornstein, who was running far post, he violently did past the keeper. It was just another example of the quality they had on the night overall. Up next for DC United, they'll be on the road this weekend to face Toronto FC on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I think this is the last week of games before international break, and then team, MLS play will resume on the other side of the international break. It was a tough game for DC United, but again, it's like it's game 3. It's not time to make any sweeping indictments on anything that's going on in life. The special players in Chicago were special enough when it mattered, and sometimes it's that simple. All right, Cardell, what you got for us in rapid fire this week?
Man, we gonna start with the guy in Tampa, man. He can't make up his mind. But his dad Tom Brady's dad suggests that the media forced his retirement decision. When in doubt, blame the media. That seems to be the thing these days. Tom Brady retired on February 1st before unretiring March 13th. His father, who disputed the late January reports that Tom Jr. will be calling quits, believes that the media forced the hand of Brady. They were announcing his retirement before he even retired. Tom Brady senior said, the media made the news. He was not ready to make any decision and didn't make any decision. But Schefter and Darlington stated it as fact. He hadn't made any decision on that. Still 3 days after the report emerged, Tom Jr. retired. After retiring, he had time to reflect with his family, on what gives him the greatest joy in his life. And they all agree that this is the path forward that works best for the Brady family. Tom Sr. said he is happy as can be. It just took a little bit of time to sort this thing out. I mean, he's kind of in uncharted territory. So people might seem to think he took a misstep. Hey, welcome to our world. Not very many people get to make this decision at 44 years of age and going on 45. You're gonna start with you, Octavia.
When has Tom Brady ever did something he ain't want to do? Never. That don't make no sense to me. Like, yeah, I understand it. It was reported before he actually came out and said it, but I just can't imagine Tom Brady just saying like, well, I guess I'll just retire since they've already reported that I retired. Like, that just sounds dumb. I mean, it just sounds like something that I guess a dad would say to try to protect his son. I don't know if you just want to help him save face. I don't get it, but I don't ever think Tom Brady would do something that he didn't want to do. He wanted to retire at that moment. A lot of people are saying, he spent about 40 days with the kids and getting a honey to-do list, and he was like, yeah, I'm out. I'm trying to go back to the field. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was like, this don't seem that cool. Like, I think I want to be around my kids, but my kids are probably at the age where they're like, Dad, I don't even want you around. Like, what are you doing? Leave me alone. Like, probably was like, I'm going back to training camp at this point. So I'm not surprised. I mean, honestly, I was surprised that he retired, even though, I mean, he's 45. Like, he should be retiring. But if he feels good enough to play, I mean, he played well last year. We know he can still play as long as they have offensive line, because that was probably the reason why he finally decided to either retire, because he was probably tired of getting hit and running for his life, and he's not that fast. But, I mean, he figured out if he was going to unretire, probably should do it pretty fast, so they could try to keep somebody there to protect him so he doesn't hurt himself when he's 45. But I'm not surprised. I think his dad, I think that's a cop-out. If Tom didn't want to retire, he wouldn't have retired. But everybody had a feeling he was going to unretire because he never sounded 100% sure. But I'm not surprised.
Wilson.
Tom just wanted some attention, man. He should have just been like, look, I'm going to take some time to figure out what I want to do. The media, a couple reporters, it's been a couple rough months with jumping to, conclusions with their sources and whatnot. And I just think he's just petty. Like, and then I think it's a combo of a lot of things. One, he probably was upset that he couldn't break the news that he retired, right? Secondly, I'm sure he probably went home and stuff wasn't all cute and sweet like everything else. The kids probably didn't want to be bothered with you to a large degree. And you probably got on their nerves too. Or you just probably weren't ready to retire. Like, also, you didn't have to take everybody Sunday night. You could have waited. Like, I'm just ready for some of these dudes just to go because the attention kills me. But I don't know, man. Like I said, Tom does what Tom wants to do. I'm not shocked that he came back. I wasn't really shocked when he retired. I also didn't really take it too seriously or give too much extra thought to it. But I guess congrats that he's back. And what needs to be talked about is why the Patriots just sent Shaq Mason to the Bills for the super low after Ali Marpet retired because, Tom's not about to play behind a bad offensive line. But, hey, this is what it is, man.
All right.
Yeah, I never bought into the retirement thing to begin with, man. I think Tom's one of them dudes that's going to have to be forced out.
Oh God, that's not gonna be good.
Yeah, but I mean that's he's one of those type of maniacal competitors, man. I don't think he's as long like after the season he had last year. I don't see him hanging it up after that. Especially the way they went out in the playoffs. You that close, and and you lose. Yeah, I was actually surprised when the retirement announcement was made. I mean, I know he's ancient in football years, but he don't look like he's ready to sit down. Um, so yeah, and of course he definitely had to steal the spotlight because didn't he do this on Selection Sunday? So yeah, man, it's just theatrics. But yeah, man, so he'll be back. People are probably gonna try to make him rethink this. We were talking like when the NFL did their combine, it's a lot of very large human beings that'll be coming off the edge very fast. So I don't know, Tom. You might want to go ahead and go back home with the kids, but we'll see, man.
No, for me, I mean, his timing could have been different. You know what I mean? I mean, all these dudes, especially with social media, all these dudes are brand on their mind. So, of course, you know, the Sunday was Selection Sunday going on and stuff like that. He gonna release it because he knows everybody's kind of tuned into the sports world, so to speak, so they can focus on him. He's not the only one to do it. The guy in LA does it all the time, sticking his nose in things that don't concern him. It just is what it is, man. That's just they call it great marketing, whatever. But he played well last year. You know what I'm saying? And he is an ultimate competitor, and they ain't go out the way he wanted to go out. You feel what I'm saying? So, I mean, why not? I was shocked when he retired the first time. It was just like it wasn't like you was, trash. Like you can't throw no more. Like Peyton Manning was clearly done. He couldn't even throw no more. You know what I'm saying? So, but he was still Tom. He was still Tom, and had his defense got a couple stops. They didn't kept it going, but they still got a strong chance, got a strong team. So why not? And even with the young boys, they get more and more athletic. Gotta have that, and they don't have that yet. Tom Ahmad said that. So you know what I'm saying? That's when they're gonna learn, and that's gonna take time. And by the time they learn, he most definitely will be out of there. So I mean, yeah, man, I'm not mad at it either way, but his pops need to chill though. Like these dudes just need to stop blaming media for everything, man. Like no, dog. Like a lot of y'all full of it. It is what it is, man. Like, get it, man. The spotlight is addictive. It's like being on crack. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get away from it, but just just own it and be real about it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to act like it's not that. Like the public is just stupid. It's tiring, man, because you're insulting a lot of people's intelligence. With most people, I know some fools out there that just roll with whatever y'all say, but it is what it is. We'll move on. To Rays Wizards.
Hope don't put them on me, man.
Coach Wes Unseld Jr. on Wizards defensive problems is not something schematic. Washington has allowed 123 points per 100 possessions this month. For perspective, the NBA worst Rockets have 116 defensive rating for the season. When asked about the poor defense, with it being something schematic that needs to change, he says it's not something schematic. There's some of the same issues. We talked about the one-on-one containment. There's no scheme for transition defense. You can say, okay, well, let's take care of the ball. We can do that better. But when the shot goes up, there's no scheme to say you have to be here, you have to be here, you have to be here. It's an effort, a level of focus, communication that takes care of that. We're gonna start with you, Ray, man. What's wrong with your beloved Wizards and their defense,
man? I mean, you say it all the time on Wizards Outlook. No pride, no heart, and just lazy. I mean, the results speak for themselves. I think Wes was being very nice in his comments. Like I'm almost 1,000% certain that message was delivered a different way behind closed doors, because what we've been seeing is pathetic. I mean, you're a professional basketball team. Like, it is just simple stuff. Like, we saw them get murdered by backdoor cuts all night. Like, That's simple stuff, man. See ball. That's when you first trot out on the court when you 6 years old. That's what they tell you, and these dudes can't even do that. Like so, yeah, man. I think yeah, I mean that's probably the most critical I've heard him be of the team to this point this year. And that's saying something given, he appears to be a mild mannered guy, and
Not to cut you off, hold that thought. I think he came off like that because the question was posed about basically his X's and O's being the issue, and that was a little challenging. So he's like, hold on, y'all, and this is why it's tough for me being media because it's like if you know basketball, you know damn well it ain't no damn scheme. You really think he's up there scheming? Hey, just move out the way. Let Steph Curry get left hand layups all day. Like, come on now. But go ahead, my bad, bro. Go ahead.
No, you good. No, that's good insight because I mean, yeah, like it's one thing to protect your guys, but you're not gonna sit up here and criticize me for stuff we're all seeing. Like it doesn't matter who's on that sideline. If the players on the floor aren't giving effort, then schematics don't mean anything. Like he can't get out there and play defense for them. So yeah, man, and I know people been on West Neck the whole season, but they was complaining about Scott Brooks last year. Like people just complain without actually looking at what's going on in the game. So I mean, it's everybody's fault but the people who are actually playing. That's the craziest shit in the world to me. But yeah, man, it's reached a point where you got to look in the mirror and be like, man, this can't continue because it's just flat out embarrassing, man. Like I talked about earlier, the field day folks had on their West Coast road trip. Like so, it's just no resistance, man. It's not like dudes having 50 and it's hard, like and it looks like they're just raising their level of play and just outplaying them. It's easy. Like it's easy 50s. What LeBron was 18 for 25. Steph scored 41 of his 47 in 15 minutes. Like, come on, man. Josh Hart, like who's not even known for offense, just obliterates you. Like that's crazy, man. But yeah, I just think that was a message sent. And yeah, we'll see, man. Like I pray for US.
And that question was posed before they took on the Warriors, so that makes it even worse. So they gotta stop. They gotta stop blaming the coaches because it's weak and lazy. You can't be also these players will tell people in a second we're the most skilled era of all time, but you don't have no skill on defense. You don't have no know-how. Like, what is it going to be? You see what I'm saying? And it is just I feel for these coaches, dog, because these players today, it's just bad. It's beyond bad, man. It's pathetic what we saying, man. But go ahead, Octavia, we're gonna roll with you next.
Yeah, so I had to really stop and listen when Ray was talking about the road trip and like all the people they played against and how it literally went from Reggie Jackson dropping 31 to LeBron dropping 50 to Josh Hart dropping 44 to Steph Curry dropping 47. And as you all know, by default at this point, I guess I'm still a Blazers fan. I don't even watch the Blazers no more, bro. Like, I don't even think the Blazers watch the Blazers, okay? So, at this point, when you said that, I was like, wait, what? Who did what now? Because nobody plays for the Blazers. So, to me, that's even worse because you literally have a group of people who are fighting to stay in the league at this point. Anything they can possibly do. I mean, Dame's been out. They traded away everybody. Nurkic is out injured. The one guy they had left was Anthony Simons, and he out injured. They literally have nobody playing outside of Josh Hart, if you even consider that. No shade to him or anything. So it's basically just like you guys says. It's effort. Defense has always been effort and pride, and I don't think a lot of the players in the NBA take pride in it. Like the ones that you see, the Mikal Bridges, the Rudy Goberts, the players that play hard. Yeah, like those you see, like they take that type of stuff personally. And I don't think I think you have to have that type of mindset, and I don't think they do. I think sometimes they especially when you're looking at playing against the Blazers, you're looking like, oh man, we should walk away with this, and not realizing that these kids on the other side might not have the same clout or name as you, but they in the league just like you are. And any given night, somebody can give you the business, and I think that's what the Wizards always fall back on. I think that they sometimes just think like they could turn whatever they have on and off, but it don't be looking like it. So I think most of it is it's always effort, and I definitely think going after the coach is a cop out because, like you said, the scheme can't tell you to the ball is on the floor, dive on the floor. The scheme can't tell you that, like you said, see man, see ball. Like that's common sense in basketball world. Like that's common sense. So it's just sad to see that. And I mean, and they still are they still on this West Coast trip?
They back home tomorrow, and guess who they got to deal with?
Oh yeah, the Nuggets. I just see it. So good luck with that. Because Bones Highland went off last night, and I'm like, who is this? Like,
Bones is the least of their worries. Lord,
I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. But I'm saying like that's the least of him, and he went off. So I just good luck.
That's another home game for him.
I will pray for you guys for your Wizards outlook. Good luck.
Least in whatever, 1 o'clock in the morning for Wilson.
Yeah, they got to do this. They got to stop this in sports, period. Like it feels like the last like 7-8 years, it's got progressively worse. Players get all the credit when something good happens, and the coaches is the devil when something bad happens. No, hold the players accountable. Carter always says, if you got energy and the agility, the athleticism, and dexterity to put up 50, boy, you got the same 3 or 4 things to slide your feet and get in front of somebody. It is a whole choice. And that's what needs to be discussed. It's just a choice. You can choose to care. You can choose not to care. And if you want to choose not to care, it's social media, man. Like, I'm not going to lie. So, like, play a lot of video games, whatever. You know what the Wizards have done for me recently? My team cards, I recently just been like, look, halfway through games, I turn on the game real quick and go get me a card, knowing that it's going to increase the value tomorrow because they are the players at 30 or 40. Like that's how bad it is for me, and it just I get something good out of it. But seriously, no, it's just embarrassing. You literally gave up at least 30 every stop of your trip and gave up 43 times, and you're lucky Steph missed a couple shots away from 50. Like,
bruh, Contavious Caldwell Pope was telling Steve Kerr to sub him out. What the fuck? And smiling at him. I'm like, what the fuck? In the middle of the game?
Yep. And that's what I'm saying is like, and we talk all the time on Wizards Outlook. Like, I know Wizards fans want stuff to change or whatever. Like fans of other teams, you want stuff to change. It's kind of like that's why the same few teams, or when the guys that take that end of the floor serious move every couple years or whatever, that's why those teams get taken seriously. When people laugh and ha about certain draft picks, and the one thing we know about player X is that they compete like they play like their life's on the line on that end of the floor. Yeah, you can, oh my God, they don't shoot the three well, yada, yada. You know what that looks like to me? He's probably going to a winning team. And if he goes to a bad team, he's going to find his way to a winning team soon. Because bad teams don't know how to keep those players. And they're going to contribute. It matters. Like, that stuff's important. But yeah, and I'm with Wes. The last thing you need to do is question my X's and O's when we both know they're not executing. We both know I didn't say leave my center 28 feet out on an island with Steph Curry, or when Steph comes off a screen to give him space comfortably to shoot. I'm sure went through film. I'm pretty sure somebody mentioned, hey, when Clay catches it in the corner, he's going to give you an up fake to get you to bring your hand down so he can pull right in your face. He's been doing it for years. None of this stuff is new. Hey, Draymond's back. They're going to run their crazy 2-man dribble handoff over and over. Like, if we know it watching, we really think a coaching staff didn't say anything. And again, this is the same stuff that we're like, oh, get Brooks out of here. Blah, 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 blah. You know who looked to play enough defense when Josh Hart was going nuts? The no-name Blazers. So I don't know what to tell y'all, man. But yeah, it's you can't blame the coaches only when stuff goes bad, man. Player, like, same energy. That's all I had, same energy.
Before I start, Octavia, you gave up on your man Melo on the Lakers? Talking about the Blazers, your team? What's going on? See, you on mute, see?
No. You know, first of all, this is the funny thing, right? I watch more Laker games now than I do
Lord,
Blazers
I feel
games,
for you.
but it's because I want to see them lose. And it's been fun. It's been really fun because they've been losing a lot.
Yeah, we
a lot. And
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's not looking too good. LeBron out there. I mean, did you see he started yelling in the middle of the game? I'm like, who are you yelling at? You could have got the rebound too.
It was your man that got the
I'm
ball.
like, who are you yelling at, bro? I'm like, you could have got the rebound.
Hey man, it's year 19. You can see now.
I was like, what is this? Like the Rockets game, I watched like halftime on through overtime. I was like, this is bad, but it's so good.
Yeah. Talk about not playing defense. They worse than the Wizards. Like I'm like, Lord Jesus. Like, whew. It's bad. But I mean everything y'all said, I'm in agreement with, man. It's just that's why, when we on Outlook, I tell the fans, our viewers, I'm like, I don't even know if the man can really coach because look what he's working with, dog. Like, I mean, you need talent in this league, but you also need talent that buys in. And this is why you see a lot of old school players, they don't say, they either don't say nothing or they critical or they kind of careful, but they still critical of what they say. The effort into their defense it's not the only thing, which it starts with effort. Mm-hmm. Then you get in the IQ part of it, the tendencies and learning, different guys' moves and the type of mentality and stuff like that. That helps you win games, man. You feel what I'm saying? And the top teams, Memphis is a threat now. They were just in the play-in last year. They beat the Warriors. The reason why they came up in the last couple of years, obviously talent, but all of them strapped. The entire team straps, man. There's no weak link out there. You feel what I'm saying? And they third or second in the West all season, and they only have Dylan Brooks, who's one of the most confident basketball players I've ever seen on both ends, dog. If you ask him, he's the best scorer and the best defender in the league, dog. Like his confidence is crazy. Mm-hmm. So they're going to get stronger, man. You feel what I'm saying? So look at that leap that they made from lottery round drafted Ja Morant. All right, we're going to see what we got in this kid. Bright future ahead. To now, 2 years later, they're contending. It starts on the defensive end for them. Because it's not like they're the best shooting team in the league. They use their defense, they get out and run, and then it's a wrap. They got so many athletes. That's what they do. You feel what I'm saying? So, look, media got to learn the game. Look, I get why West, like, hold on. Chill it, y'all getting a little disrespectful, man. Like, this ain't on me, dog. These dudes, it's on them. It's basic stuff. A guy gets beat. How about you rotate over and get in the way and just stand there? Either he's going to run you over or he's going to have to kick it back out. And the guy that got beat, how about you just not turn around, watch the guy just drive? Why don't you stay behind him? Because if he's going to make a move, he's going to probably make a move right back towards you and you can get the block or you can get the strip. That's what good defensive teams do. You really don't have no breathing room. Even when you think you got it, you really don't got it. And it's simple stuff. These guys have played basketball long enough to know how to play defense, man. And it's sad that they doing this, man, because it just shows they don't give a damn. And they just hooping for the bread, hooping for opportunities, contracts and stuff like that, man. And fans got to start holding these dudes accountable. Like we just talked about the Lakers. The reason why they're ass defensively, because their leaders don't care about that end at all.
He hardly get down the court.
So whatever is established at the top, it's going to trickle down to everybody else. And they're going to have a license like, well, I got to play D. He ain't doing it. And you can try to use that just, hey, man, you ain't put in the work he has on that. Nah, dog, it don't work like that. Everything starts with the leader. Everything, every time. And that's what it is, man. So whatever standard, like the Wizards, unfortunately, their leader is out. But the reason why you got guys going every which way because their leader is not fully committed. Who the franchise appointed the leader, he hasn't been fully committed all season. Meaning, re-sign, he gonna be here. It took him a minute to even get the vaccination shots. So why am I gonna listen to you? You're not even fully investing. I'm gonna do my thing and look out for myself. I'm gonna get my numbers, so my agent can pitch, and I can get my money and stuff, and I'm gonna keep moving. Why am I gonna burn myself out. That's what you're seeing right now. Why am I going to really put everything out and I got out in this, man? It's not going to work. It's just it is what it is, and that's culture. And it's sad that and that's what I'm saying. I feel for Wes Unseld because he got the job because of the defensive job he did in Denver coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And he come here, but guess what he got? Great players that bought in. Now he get over here and he got this culture, man. Like, bro, it's just sad, man. You know what I'm saying? And then what make it worse? They played like that last night, Golden State. And Tommy in the crowd, right behind the bench. You can see in his face he irritated. And I'm just like, well, I mean, you got a lot of work to do, dog. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. But yeah, you can't call. We gotta stop this. Fans can't let the emotion of their favorite player or whoever they rooting for get in the mix, man. You gotta call out who needs to be called out. You gotta hold the players accountable. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I do appreciate. They say tough fans up in Philly and New York and all that. They hold them up accountable, dog. It's hard to walk down the street. So Knicks fans, you can't. If your Knicks ain't good, you can't walk down the street all chill, dog. It's
Nope. No.
Go ahead.
You better stay out the Hamptons, bro.
Here, you gotta catch the right people. See, you down there by Capitol Hill, and the white people like, yeah, great game. That's that Kyle Kuzma. Now, if you keep going another 10 minutes a certain way, you'll run into some bros and like, yeah, y'all some shit, man. You gonna get the real. See, that's what protects them. So they got a little buffer where Capital One is and stuff. New York, it ain't no buffer. That's on Middle Times Square. People get off work, Penn Station. You gonna hit it. You feel what I'm saying? So that's really what it is, man. You gotta hold them accountable because that's gonna make them have to play, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But yeah, man, leave West alone, dog. Like they got a long way to go before we start being critical of him, man. Because if they keep this, my man just might bow out. Like, y'all try to sabotage my career. I'm going back to Denver, though. I'm out. And I guarantee you, remember last point? Remember last year, Scott Brooks? Why didn't they foul late in the game? Honestly, I ain't trust them to commit the foul. That's why I do my hands. I'm good, dog. Yeah, professional NBA players. You didn't trust NBA players to commit a foul late. You can't make this stuff up, man. It's on you, Wilson. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, look, man. That quote stuck with me. It hasn't left, and I've kept it in mind this whole year because I'm like, if he's been here and didn't trust y'all, you just got here. There can't be any trust. It's not possible. Scott was here for a while and was like, "Nah, I don't trust y'all to foul up 3. Y'all might just mess this up. I'm good. No, we'll just play defense and whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm gonna get blamed anyway, so it's cool." Like that's horrible. That's where you're at. But again, man, I want to thank y'all for spending time with us this week as always. We enjoy it. We hope you guys did as well. We'll be back next week. We're gonna have so much to talk about next week. Again, NCAA tournament, the NFL is gonna act even crazier. I'm sure it'll be more nuts tomorrow. Yeah, look forward to see what happens in NBA. I'm sure 5 more people might score 60 or 50 by the time we see you next week.
Kyrie up to 60 right
Kyrie
now.
got 60 with 8 minutes.
You said who?
Kyrie had 60 with 8 minutes left in the game.
It's 60 now. I just looked. It was 53. Dang.
60 with 8:32 left in the game.
You let somebody who plays on the schedule of a baseball pitcher come and drop 60.
But that's why his ass fresh as I don't know what. He got no fresh there. Orlando, like, God, this game 69, sheesh.
My man said game 17.
Yep.
Right.
Dang, it's 1:31 tonight.
We got November.
Hey, let him rock out. I'll let him rock. Hey, get Kobe. See if you get Kobe. Like, go for that. Like, keep going. So
Man. It's not like you got to play tomorrow. Y'all have a great week. We'll see y'all very soon. Again, we look forward to speaking with y'all next week. Don't forget to follow Focus TV on all your social media mediums, and we'll get at you guys next week.